kind of lose that, unfortunately, and two kids get together and it's like, magnetism, and it all works out very well. If only we could all continue that through a lifetime. So, announcements, if any, for the sake of the congregation, please come up and avail yourself of the microphone if you choose to.
Okay, I started a D&D. And I started D&D last week, so I just have all the stuff in the RE room. I wanted to set it up, so if anybody wants to join, it will begin.
When?
After, like, during the hour.
Okay. We respect the voice of all ages in our fellowship. Any more announcements? It's a slender morning. And we'll bring the time to focus our minds on the service in front of us, time of meditation, and spiritual renewal. I would ask that the time that makes noise, major, mobile phones, it's silent mode if you can.
Yeah.
As Emily once said, it's always fascinating to how long this retains its musicality. So I will now turn the podium over to Diane Trieb. Diane is a natural healer and has many talents. She can tell us. He's been here before. Her sermons and speeches are always enlightening and, for me, very peaceful and calming, which will be wonderful. Diane.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad to hear that this congregation doesn't care about my past. And I hope you care about my present, because I'm having a bit of bathroom needs today. I considered not coming, but then I thought better if I come and just leave and come back than don't come at all. So I'm here, and I am praying, since our topic is about prayer today, that I make it through the service without leaving. Yeah, I am a teacher and writer of practical spirituality. I'm a counselor, a facilitator, and I'm very happy to be back here with all of you. All right, it's all of you. So prayer. What is prayer? What is prayer to you? Many of us began our prayer journey as a child with "Now I lay me down to sleep." Then when we were older, we may have learned the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven. This morning we are going to explore prayer, simple prayer, and how we might use it in our lives. C.S. Lewis wrote, "I pray because I can't help myself. I pray because I am helpless. I pray because the need flows out of me all the time, waking and sleeping." Prayer doesn't change God. Prayer changes me. Can we join together in singing our opening hymn number 42, Morning So Fair to See? And now it's time for some story for all ages.
Today we're going to read The Crunching Munching Caterpillar. Caterpillar was always hungry. For weeks, he crunched and munched his way through the fresh, juicy leaves of a blackberry bush. One day, Caterpillar was about to crunch on another leaf when Bumblebee landed beside him. "Wow," said Caterpillar, "how did you get here?" "Simple," said Bumblebee. "Look, I have wings." "Oh, I like some of those," said Caterpillar. Bumblebee flew up into the air and buzzed busily from flower to flower. "I'd love to fly like that," said Caterpillar. "Well, you can't," said Bumblebee. "I've got wings and you've got legs. Your legs are for walking." "I guess so," said Caterpillar. Bumblebee flew off to the next bush. Watching Bumblebee fly had made the caterpillar very hungry, so he crunched and munched until it was time for bed. Caterpillar woke to the sound of twittering birds swooping and soaring in the early morning light. Caterpillar was just about to start his breakfast when Sparrow landed beside him. "I'd love to fly high in the air like that," said Caterpillar. "Well, you can't," said Sparrow. "You need to be as light as a dandelion flock that floats on the breeze. You're far too fat to fly. Your legs are for walking." "I guess so," Caterpillar said glumly. Caterpillar carried on, crunching, munching all day until the light began to dim. He wrapped a leaf around himself to keep warm. He was just about to go to sleep when Butterfly landed gracefully beside him. "Oh, I wish I could fly like you," sighed Caterpillar. But I'm too fat and I have legs instead of wings. Butterfly smiled a secret, knowing smile. Who knows, perhaps one day you will fly, light as a feather like me, she said. But now, little caterpillar, you should go to sleep. You look very tired. Butterfly was right. Caterpillar suddenly felt very sleepy. As Butterfly flew off into the night, he fell into a deep, deep sleep. Caterpillar slept all through the winter, and his sleep was filled with dreams. He dreamed he had wings and he was soaring through the blue sky above the tall trees. He dreamed he was a dandelion clock drifting towards the sun. He dreamed he was light as a feather floating in the breeze. When Caterpillar awoke, he felt the warmth of the spring sun. He was stiff from his long sleep, but he did not feel very hungry. He stretched and stretched, and breeze lifted Caterpillar into the air. He was no longer short and plump. He had wings, great, big, wonderful butterfly wings. Wow, said young Butterfly. I'm flying. I'm really flying. And that is how the caterpillar learned to have patience.
Okay, so time in our service, as always, where we will tap into one of the three T's, time, talent, and in this case, treasure. So we ask if you have any spare change and you can contribute to the financial welfare of the fellowship as we pass the baskets, we would appreciate it.
So I am going to combine the reading with service, or the sermon, because, this little book, Help, Thanks, Wow, the Three Essential Prayers by Anne Lamott, is so well written. This woman is, wise, and she writes about profound truth with a sense of humor. And it's so good, I can't possibly put what she says into better words than she does. So it's all going to be wrapped up into one package, and I'll be drawing heavily on her words. Prayer 101. I do not know much about God and prayer, but I have come to believe over the past 25 years that there's something to be said about keeping prayer simple. Help, thanks, wow. You may in fact be wondering what I even mean when I use the word prayers. It's certainly not what TV Christians mean. It's not for display purposes like plastic, sushi, or neon. Prayer is private, even when we pray with others. It is communication from the heart to that which surpasses understanding. Let's say it is communication from one's heart to God. Or if that is too triggering or ludicrous concept for you, to the good. The force that is beyond our comprehension, but that in our pain or supplication is relief we don't need to define or have proof of or any established contact with. Let's say it is what the Greeks called the really real, that lies within us beyond the scrim of our values, positions, convictions, and wounds. Or let's say it is a cry from deep within to life or love, with capital L's. My friend Robin calls God the grandmothers. The deteriorata, a parody of desiderata, counsels us, therefore make peace with your God, whatever you conceive him to be, hairy thunderer or cosmic muffin. Let's not get bogged down on to whom or to what we pray to. Let's just say prayer is communication from our hearts to the great mystery, or goodness, or Howard, to the animating, oops, sorry, I skipped a part. This is an important part. Nothing could matter less than what we call this force. I know some ironic believers who call God Howard, as in our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I love that. Didn't want to leave that out. Let's not get bogged down onto whom or what we pray. Let's just say prayer is communication from our hearts to the great mystery or goodness or Howard. To the animating energy of love we are sometimes bold enough to believe in something unimaginably big that is not us. We could call this force not me, not preachers on stage with a choir of 800, or for convenience sake, we could just say God. Sometimes the first time we pray, we cry out in the deepest desperation, God, help me. This is a great prayer as we are then at our absolutely most degraded and isolated, which means we are nice and juicy with the consequences of our best thinking and are now thus possibly teachable. Or I might, in one of my dangerously good moods, say casually, hey, hi, person, me again, the princess. Thank you for my sobriety, my grandson, my flowering pear tree. Or you might shout at the top of your lungs or whisper into your sleeve, I hate you, God. This is a prayer too, because it is real and it is true. And maybe it's the first sincere thought you've had in months. Some of us have cavernous vibrations inside us when we communicate with God. Others are more rational and less messy. In our spiritual sense of reality, in our petitions and gratitude, and expressions of pain or anger or desolation or praise. Prayer means that in some unique way, we believe we're invited into a relationship with someone who hears us when we speak in silence. They say there are no atheists in foxholes. I say there are no atheists in the dentist chair. My prayers of late have been in the dentist chair. I've been on a journey with my dentist of extractions and crowns for the last 3 months. Let me just say that I trust my dentist. She is compassionate, wise, and skilled. But let's face it, when I lower myself into the chair, capital T, capital C, I am entrusting my teeth to her. I am handing over any control I might have thought I had to the dentist. Here's how it went of the extraction of a crowned tooth. First, she drilled the crown. Lots of grinding and vibration in my head. And as usual, she's telling me a life story about her life. I think she does this on purpose to help me relax. Of course, I have a hard time hearing what she's saying because of the drilling and the vibration. So I politely, intermittently say, uh-huh, uh-huh. Then she begins the pulling and the tugging, letting me know that the tooth is kind of crumbling and she will be taking it out in pieces. And time drags on. We are now into what must be a half an hour. Her storytelling has ended. And my mind is going to the worst case scenarios. She will get the tooth half out, and then there will be an emergency rush to an oral surgeon who will have to finish the job. Then they will discover more teeth that have to come out. And soon I will be in full dentures. Oh my God. Oh my God, indeed. And my prayer organically arises. I call on a higher power because I don't know what else to do to quiet my racing mind. Help me. Please be with me now. Please be with my dentist now. If you can get me through this one intact, I promise I will be conversing with you more often. I will be more grateful for all that I have been given. I will be more trusting in your benevolence. I will be more trusting that the benevolent universe has my back. And I begin a slow, calming breath. All righty, mind is quiet. I'll just keep breathing. And another half an hour goes by. I am doing my best to remain in neutral, and the prayer has helped greatly. And then, all of a sudden, it seems she is done. Tooth and roots out in pieces, great relief. Prayer is talking to something or anything with which we seek union, even if we are bitter or insane or broken. In fact, these are probably the best possible conditions under which to pray. Prayer is taking a chance that against all odds and past history, we are loved and we are chosen. And that we do not have to get it together before we show up. The opposite may be true. We may not be able to get it together until after we show up in such miserable shape. C.S. Lewis described my experience at the dentist. I pray because I am helpless. It doesn't change God, it changes me. I feel less afraid, more grateful, less critical, more trusting. Yep, that is exactly what happened in the dentist chair. I changed. There's freedom in hitting bottom in seeing that you won't be able to save or rescue or control your life or their life or the current circumstance. Admitting you have reached a place of great unknowing, of feeling helpless. When we can surrender to not knowing, to helplessness, this is where restoration can begin. Admitting that you don't know how or what to do to fix this. Except for one last thing, asking for help. Who you ask for help is not important. Asking for help is important. Help. Help me walk through this. Help me come through this. It's the first great prayer. What would you have me do? How can I respond with grace and courage? Embrace my loved one through the night. Embrace me through the night. Prayer is communication from the heart to that which passes all understanding. What you name that which passes all understanding is a personal choice. You can ask for help from a higher power that is not you, or you can ask for help from a higher power that is you. Praying to your own greater good. In prayer, I see suffering, mine and theirs, bathed in golden light. This light penetrates our bodies and guides our feet. I pray for myself and for others who are hurting, that we be filled with air and light. Air and light heal. They somehow get into those dark, musty places like spiritual antibiotics. I love that, spiritual. I'm gonna say that again. They somehow, air and light heal. They somehow get into those dark and musty places like spiritual antibiotics. Deep breathing, full deep breaths into and out of our heart. Feels like making more inner space for suffering, more inner space for light, more inner space for help. We can be freed from a damaging insistence on forward thrust, from a commitment to running wildly down a convenient path that might actually be taking us deeper into the dark forest. Praying help means that we ask that something give us the courage to stop in our tracks, right where we are, and turn our fixation away from the Gordian knot of our problems. We stop the toxic peering and instead turn our eyes to something else, to our feet on the sidewalk, to the middle distance, to the hills from whence help comes, someplace else, any place else. Maybe this is a shift of only 8 degrees, but it can be a miracle. It may be one of those miracles where your heart sinks because you think it means you have lost, but in surrender, you have won. And if it were me, after a moment, I would say, thanks. And that is the second essential prayer. Thanks. Thank you. If we have answered yes to Einstein's question of whether or not the universe is friendly, then we ought to be saying thank you to everything life presents to us, whether we like it or not. Trying to find where I'm going to start this. Oh, here we go. Glasses. And here's Anne's take on thanks. Most of us figure out by a certain age, some of us later than others, that life unspools in cycles, some lovely, some painful, but in no predictable order. So you could have lovely, painful, and painful again, which I think we all agree is not fair at all. You don't have to like it, and you are always welcome to file a brief with the complaints department. But if you've been around for a while, you know that most of the time, if you are patient and paying attention, you will see that God will restore what the locusts have taken away. I admit sometimes this position of gratitude can be a bit of a stretch. So many bad things happen in each of our lives. Who knew? When my son Sam was 7 and discovered that he and I would probably not die at exactly the same moment, he began to weep and said, "If I had known that, I wouldn't have agreed to be born." The one truth that the few people you adore will die is plenty difficult to absorb. But on top of it, someone's brakes fail, or someone pulls the trigger, or snatches the kid, or someone deeply trusted succumbs to temptation, and everything falls apart. We are hurt beyond any reasonable chance of healing. We are haunted by our failures and immortality. And yet the world keeps on spinning. And in our grief and rage and fear, a few people keep on loving us and showing up. It's all motion and stasis, change and stagnation. Awful stuff happens and beautiful stuff happens. And it's all part of the big picture. In the face of everything we slowly come through, we manage to make new constructs and baskets to hold what remains and what has newly appeared. We come to know or reconnect with something rich and okay about ourselves. And at some point, we cast our eyes to the beautiful skies above all the crap we're wallowing in, and we whisper, "Thank you." And finally, the last essential prayer, wow. When you can say wow, it's a sure sign that you are not yet dead to wonder. I personally believe that wonder and joyful aliveness are the highest states of being, not that I'm there all the time. And that the more in life we can find to say thank you for and to utter wow about, the more we are in alignment with our benevolent universe. And the more we are in alignment with our benevolent universe, the more the benevolent universe delivers to us wow-worthy experiences. The best wow is awakening to the abundance of magic and miracles. Simple, everyday magic and miracles. Simple prayers. Help, thanks, wow. So now, would you please join in singing the closing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life, and sing that you are able.
Okay, so it is that time, perhaps since we have no kids, sure can be helpful to us for extinguish our chalice. We have the words in order of service as usual, and we can read them in unison. So please join me. To extinguish this flame, and not the light of wisdom, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts, in our hands, that we are together again.
Help, thanks, wow. 3 essential prayers. Prayer is communication from the heart to that which surpasses understanding. Prayer is communication from the heart to the good that has no opposite. Prayer is taking a chance that against all odds in history, we are chosen and we are loved. And now is the time for sharing joys and concerns. Also, if you've had a prayer experience that you would like to share. Thank you, Carla, that was beautiful.